Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Liz and today is going to be a story time. As far as story time and the people involved in my story times, other than me obviously, I do want to still respect the privacy of the other individuals, whether they do or do not deserve it in this instance. Believe you me, there's probably going to be more and more story times that are going to involve other people. I'm still going to try and give everyone the same amount of respect as if they were watching it for themselves, even if they don't necessarily deserve it. Now, if I was talking with my homegirl behind the scenes, game over. I'm going to be quite frank with you, no holds bars. But as far as blasting it all over the internet, I'm still going to try to give them respect. So, with that disclaimer in hand, I am going to continue on with the story. I'm still going to be completely honest and transparent as far as my actions and the other individuals towards me. I don't know, y'all. I do this weird thing, even though when people do hurt me in the past, I still try to paint them in the much positive light as possible, and even though it's maybe not deserved, I still do it. So basically I was in high school, right? I was about 16 years old, but I was scrolling through my Instagram and I seen this guy who was like liking every single one of my pictures, commenting on every single one of my pictures. Oh, damn, you know, look at those lips, da 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 da, or you're beautiful, this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he just casually slid into my DMs and I'm like, why not? I thought he was okay looking. So we start talking through DMs on Instagram or whatever, and then I give, either he asks for mine or I give him mine, I have no idea, but Kik, back when it was a thing, K-I-K. Anyways, it's kind of like AIM Messenger, if you guys remember, like the 90s kids back then, because I was born in 97. Shout out to my birthday coming up next weekend. Stupid video to announce it in, but hey, I'm turning 23, y'all. I think at some point we started talking about our ages and he mentioned that he was 21 and I let him know that I was 16. I wasn't lying. I told him I was 16. He didn't have a problem with it. Like, obviously, hindsight, it's a problem. I'm a minor, duh. But we're just gonna keep on with the story. So he ended up walking me home back from high school, and like while on our way up to the hill, like my mom like pulled up on the hill and was like, "Hey Liz, what are you doing?" And he's like standing right there, and then he like avoids eye contact immediately and just like pretends to tie his shoe, and I just hop in the car and then we just go up the hill to the rest of the way because it was like 30 more seconds till we reached my house going up that hill. And she was like, "Oh, so who is he?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know, just some guy I started talking to or whatever." And then later that night she's like, "Oh, how old is he?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's 21. Yo, it's not funny, but it's like looking back, it's like, Liz, really? You thought that was okay? I'm like, "Yeah, he's 21. And she's like, "Absolutely not." And I'm like, "But why?" Like, honestly. She was like, "Well, what would he want with you? I can't imagine you guys will have anything in common." She was like, "Well, you guys don't have anything in common. Like, what would he talk to you about?" And I was like, kind of hurtful, like rude, kind of true, but still hurtful. Like, there's more to me than just like vlogs, you know, like I can hold down a conversation. Obviously it's my mom. By the way, it's my foster mom. Obviously she's like, "This is my 16-year-old daughter," and some grown-ass man is trying to talk to her. Like, no, duh, right? We keep talking, obviously. I think she asked to see a picture of him that night and I just like showed her, or like, honestly it's been a long time since this happened, but I'm trying to remember it as much as possible. But I think, yeah, something along those lines where she asked for a picture or something like that and I showed her who he was. And later on she realized that he somehow ended up being a family member of her ex-husband. Like, I don't know, the town that I was placed in is a very, very small town. Everybody knows everybody. Apparently everybody's everybody's cousin, but yet everybody's still dating everybody. I don't know, not my business. Quick little side note, again, if people don't know, I was placed in foster care when I was about 12 years old until the age that I aged out. Normally you age out at 18, 21. Group home, foster care, independent care, whatever. It's still under the Child Protective Services, pretty much. At the age of 18, you can sign yourself out or sign to continue to be in foster care until the age of 21. So I was in foster care from the ages of 12 to the age of 21. So between the ages of 12 to 19, I was still in the same foster home. And then from the ages of 19 to 21, I stayed in another foster home, which is still the same foster home I'm living in today, and I'm about to be 23. So anyways, so I lived in that town for about roughly 8 years of my life. I kind of kept talking to him. Obviously, I'm pretty sure she knew that I kept talking to him or whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if it's not legal now, then I turned 17 shortly, and that's the age of consent, right? So I'm like, well, what if I just wait till I'm 17? She's like, oh my god, I don't understand why you're still hung up on this dude, da 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 da, whatever, whatever. Anyways, so we still kind of like snuck around, obviously. Like, I mean, honestly, to be fair, I wasn't very much of a rebellious teenager, like, you know, like F authority kind of person. Like, I like to follow the rules 95% of the time. I like to follow the rules unless they don't make no sense, and I'm like, this don't make no sense, why should I follow this? But anyways, it was just like, I felt like, one, it was kind of hurtful, like her saying like what would he want with you kind of thing, even though it's on the truth like spectrum, it still was kind of hurtful. And I'm like, no, like I'm more than just like my body kind of thing. So as far as male attention wise, like I've definitely gotten catcalled before, like men who could have been my father's age, which is like freaking weird. Like, honestly, I have been like walking down the street and get catcalled, but like a grown man sitting next to his daughter that's the same age as I am. Like, at the time, I think I was like 10, 11, or 12. Yeah, so as far as like male attention wise, that was like the second guy, I guess, that like I had mutual interest in. Okay, it's hard to describe, it's kind of weird, but like I don't really like that much attention coming my way, especially like from men. Like, I just unless it's somebody like I also find cute. And it's so like, at that time, like I don't know how to flirt. Like, I'm just like, someone literally tried to flirt with me and I was just like, oh yeah, like hi. Like, I don't know how to flirt. I still don't know how to flirt to this day. So like at this point, my mom has also found out who he was and somehow got his phone number. And on his Instagram, his name was like Coochie Killer, which is, if you don't know, Coochie is like for your little box, pretty much. In his phone settings, that was also in his voicemail. So my mom tried to call him, and his voicemail was like 5 minutes long just to even leave a message. And it was like after, I think he had a song playing or something like that, and at the end it was like, yo, leave your message for Coochie Killers. A mess, a whole mess. And it was just like, yeah, yo, leave your message for Coochie Killer, da 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 da. Yo. It's funny, y'all. I'm sorry, it's funny. And my mom had to sit through that, right? And she had to sit through this 5-minute voicemail to leave this grown man a message. And by that time, she's had it. She was, she had it. At the time, I didn't think this was funny. I cut it. I don't know, I was upset. But anyway, she left him a voicemail, and he was really upset about the voicemail. I was like, yo, why are you so upset? Like, send me the voicemail. And he sent it to me, and the voicemail pretty much was like, you're trying to talk to my daughter, she's not mine. Did you see that bug? Or some flurry. Anyways, so the voicemail was like, yo, you're trying to talk to my 16-year-old minor daughter, da 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 da. Basically, like, stop talking to her. If you have any problems or questions, come to my address. She was like, well, you already know where I live. Here's the address. I swear to God. Oh, God. She was like, well, you already know where I live since you walked my daughter home. Here's the address. Here's my phone number. And da 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 da. Like, yo, it was bad. It was bad. But like, obviously it's like mama bear protecting like her daughter. Like, I don't blame her. She was like, well, if you have any questions, here's my address, you could pull up, and then if you try to talk to my daughter again, da, 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 I'm calling the police. And I'm like, oh shit. And he was like, yeah, I talked to my friend about this, who like also was like a mutual family member. And he was like, yeah, no, she's dead ass. She'll call the cops. Like, she's crazy. Don't mess with her. In reference to my mom. So like, we kept talking, but like after a while, everything just obviously went back to like a sexual manner, right? Like, text messages always led to a sexual manner. I believe he was asking pictures at one point. And again, by the way, illegal, minor, child pornography, felony. I don't know why I'm laughing, but like, honestly, with more like heavier topics, I kind of just like laugh my way through them sometimes, where it's just like, I don't know, that's just how I deal with life. That's how I just deal with like traumatic stuff in my life. Not saying necessarily this was a traumatic event, but just in general for me, I like to laugh my way through life, kind of, sort of, and just like that's my form of therapy. Obviously talking it out, but like talking it out in like a comedic way. Sometimes in situations there's nothing comedic about scenario, but things like this is just like, you know, obviously like child pornography, felony. Distribution of child pornography, myself included, could have been charged, and him for asking and receiving one. So basically, yeah, like in text messages, he would like try to ask for pictures of me. I don't remember. I think he tried to like get a shot of my box one time, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. You got me messed up. I'm not the one. So I never like sent pictures of myself, because it's just like, I don't even remember what kind of phone I had, to be honest. Yeah, no, I think he asked for pictures and I just never sent them, and I'm like, no, I don't feel comfortable. None of this stuff was legal, to be honest. Him to even trying to continue talking to me or in a relationship was just like not, it was not right. But I feel like in situations like this, men of the older age, anything older than a minor, specifically seek out younger girls to try to manipulate them, and they feel like they're more easier to try to convince a younger minor girl to do things for the guy, right? I feel like in that scenario it's definitely predatory, and it's just like level of maturity and ability to think, and it's just different. I feel like in these circumstances, like, older men do seek out younger teenage minor girls to have their way with them, pretty much, you know, to try to manipulate them into relationships, manipulate them to send photos and just do things that they can't do with a girl their normal age, right? So they can't, these older men, I can't keep saying older men like they're 35, but like these older men like 20s and stuff like that can't find a girl their own age, because they're not at the maturity level of a girl their own age in their 20s. So they seek out younger girls to try to manipulate them, pretty much. I can't speak for every scenario. As far as me, I've always liked older men, and I think my aunt at the time, she was like, damn Liz, you can't just wait till you were 18, and I'm like, she had a point. But I didn't see anything wrong with the age gap, because I particularly prefer older men even to this day. But obviously something wrong. I was a minor. He was a grown man. Yeah, so like the conversations just always led to sexual manner. Like, I think then we even started like having like sexual conversations over the phone and stuff like that. At some point there was another foster girl that was like living with me, and I was like, yo, I can't do this. Like, I can't, there's someone here living next to me right now, like I can't do this. And he just like, fine, he was like, oh fine, and just like hung up. And I'm like, okay, rude. Thank you for asking how my day went. I think the whole situationship only lasted maybe about a month or so, and then my mom was like checking my phone records, and she was like, because his phone number, I think it started with the 232 or something like that, and then any other phone number that matched that same, like the same first 3 digits, she's like, well, you were calling him at this time, this time, this time, this time, and I'm like, no, like we weren't even calling, we were on WhatsApp, because like she was like tracking me. So at that time there was a GPS locator on my phone. She could track all incoming and outgoing calls with the phone number. I don't know about text messages specifically, but yeah, she was like, well, at this time you were calling him, and I'm like, no, I wasn't. Like, I genuinely wasn't. Like, I was calling my friend to see if we were walking home together. Like, that was the phone number I was calling, but all she saw was the same 3 digits prior to the last 4. We like just like snuck around, I think, and I think we met up one more time after that, and I think like we met up in the woods, because like we couldn't be seen obviously in public. We couldn't be seen walking around this town, because like, we would get noticed and they would get it back to my mom, so like we couldn't do that. So we just met in the woods or whatever, and it was like broad daylight. I think this was like after school or something like that. And he was trying to go all the way in the woods, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing this in the woods. Like, I wanted to wait, just like in general. Yeah, so we just hung out for a little bit. We just left the woods and went our separate ways. This was around the same time where I fell off a bike and landed in the hospital. I'll add the card right here. And I was in the hospital bed with like a neck brace on, and I couldn't sleep because I didn't have my medication. I needed certain medication to help me fall asleep. I was just literally just sitting in the hospital bed, extremely uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep. The alarm was going off every 15 minutes in this dang hospital. Had a neck brace on. I was just like, ugh, I was just like in pain. I felt awful. So I called him and I was like, I want to talk to my boyfriend or whatever. Listen, I still don't consider him my boyfriend at this point in time. Like, I couldn't even consent to this. So, I'm gonna call it a situationship. But technically, I guess we were in a relationship or whatever. And anyway, so I just wanted to talk to my boyfriend at the time and, like, have him console me or just talk to me, like, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm in the hospital, whatever. And this boy, this little man, this boy just like gave two shits, like, excuse my language, but he could have cared less. And he just wanted to have like sexual conversation on the phone. And I'm like, really guy? Like, this is all you care about? Like, I was so livid. I just hung up. I was like, no, bye. And then after that, I was done with him. I'm like, no, this isn't working. Like, all you care about is obviously getting the punani, like getting a little box, and I was not having it. I was not here for it. My mom was right. So I ended it there. I feel like my mom's main concern obviously was like, he's a grown man, and probably too, she was worried about me getting pregnant. But like, no, we never like hooked up. We just like made out or whatever. But like, he definitely tried to. And he definitely tried to receive like new pictures from me or whatever. And I just never sent it. It was just not the wave. I don't know. Moral of the story is just be careful. Like, this could go vice versa, obviously. Like, older woman could be seeking out for a younger man. Like, the whole teacher dating her younger student, like, I'm not okay with that situation obviously either. Like, a lot of people think it's like a whole double standard. Like, what's like, oh well, he wanted it. Like, no. Like, if it's like a 32-year-old teacher trying to date her like a student who's like a 17-year-old in high school, like, that's still not okay. Like, 16-17-year-old, it's still statutory rape no matter how you slice it. Like, the child cannot consent to having any type of relation with an older adult. So let's play a hypothetical situation that does tend to happen a lot. Piggybacking off my kind of situation. So let's say the minor was like a 16-year-old girl and the guy was 21-year-old, whatever. And he was trying to talk to her, and then she actually ended up sending nude pictures, which is child pornography, and to the male, and then the parents found out. The parents end up going to the police and want to press charges. I think the parents have all their right to do that, and then he would have to either go to, I don't know, some type of program, prison, whatever have you, and then afterwards, because it's always a short sentence, I don't know freaking why, it's always a short sentence, they end up getting out and they have to, end up being in the sex registry, right? Chances are this is not the first time, right? There's always, usually with these predators, it's multiple times, multiple victims and stuff like that, and they be having a whole collection, y'all. Disgusting, I know, but it happens. I remember my mindset at that time, and it was just like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal, but it is. It's not okay. If that situation were to happen to me, I would feel immense guilt. Like, obviously this is somebody I care about, right? I wouldn't be in a relationship with this person if I didn't care about them. I know it's wrong, but like, I'm just speaking as if I was that 16-year-old again, and I would feel immense guilt about like if that whole scenario played out, and I feel like it would be my fault that he would be put on the registry or this, that, and the third. And honestly, you shouldn't feel that guilt. This person in this hypothetical situation, even though I kind of wasn't it, this person was a grown adult. They knew what they were doing. They were trying to message you. They knew what they were doing when they were asking for these photos, and they knew it wasn't right, obviously, because they wouldn't be out in public doing this if they knew it was okay. So obviously it's going to be behind the scenes, it's going to be hush hush, it's going to be secretive. I'm going to just, there's no way to transition from a serious topic to your outro, but y'all, I gotta do it. So, thank you so much for watching this video. If you watch this video all the way through, comment down a little X emoji. Yo, I'm sorry, it's not funny, it's not, but it's just, oh, this is so stupid. If you watch this video all the way through, comment down a little X emoji. Y'all seen that little girl? That's what we doing, y'all. We stopping the predators. We not here for it. And just know. Like, anytime somebody tries to slide you in DMs, Nope, I'm a minor. Thank you. Because I'm not gonna lie, some girls be lying about their age. And I'm not with that either. That's not cool. If the sis don't got a driver's license, that should be red flag number one. Then ask for her state ID. And if all she can provide you with is her high school ID, she's a minor. Because I'm not going to pretend like those scenarios don't happen. If you're questioning the girl's age, or guys, vice, whatever, because it could be any scenario, then you should stop talking. If she can't provide you with state identification, proving she's legal age to consent, walk away. Walk away, bro. Just walk away. It ain't worth it. And like, comment, subscribe, because YouTube makes me say this. And yeah, bye.